What's up guys, Star Wars Only here, and today we're going to talk about the tragedy of the Force Unleashed games. Now, I know you can make the joke of the whole Emperor Palpatine, you ever hear the tragedy of, the Force Unleashed, whatever, but let's just get right into what happened to this series. What happened to the first, the second, and the third one, because there wasn't a third one released, but it was planned. So, let's just talk about that. Now, The Force Unleashed was released in 2008, this is the very first one. And it took the world by storm. It took Star Wars fans by storm. Everyone loved this game. It was reviewed great. Everyone really thought this was a good game. And it was a very high-selling game. I think it was #1 in sales for LucasArts until just LucasArts. It died after 2012. So this game came out and everybody loved it. And it was a great game. I mean, I played a little bit of it last night and it was really, really good. And it grows on you well. People like this game for a very good reason because you get to feel like you're part of, you're a Sith, that you're part of the Force, the Star Wars universe, and you can use the Force, you can use the lightsaber. It makes you really feel immersed into the Star Wars universe, and people want that. So this game did very well. It didn't really leave room much for a sequel in terms of what could happen next, but if it makes money, it makes sense, and they thought the second one would make money. Didn't make as much as they wanted to, but still. So in 2010, they had to make a second one, and they only had a year to make it. For some reason, they gave the writers, or the writer, 3 weeks to make the game. They gave, well, not make the game, 3 weeks to make the script for the game, to write the story out and everything. And so, he wrote it in 3 weeks, that's why the story wasn't that great, but it was, it's okay. 3 weeks to make the story, and then they had a year to actually make the game. That's why the game is so short. That was the main problem with the second one. A lot of people, for me at least, I really thought the gameplay was great. I thought the gameplay is far better than the first one. I think the second one's better than the first in gameplay and things you can do. I thought it was really cool, the whole Jedi mind trick, all that stuff. I really did enjoy that. However, the story wasn't as on par with the first because it was so short. It was interesting, don't get me wrong, but it was so short, it was like, alright, well, what the hell? And I remember being, it's 2008, so 8 years ago, 2010, that I turned 18 today, so 8 years ago I was 10 years old, so for this game probably I came out, I was 9. I remember seeing this game being ready to come out, and it looked amazing. It literally looked great. I remember seeing the E3 trailer, I remember seeing all that stuff, the cool trailer where he's like walking down the hall and he's hearing Yoda and Vader talk and everything. It was really, really cool. And you find out he's a clone and everything. It was really cool for this game, and I was hyped for it. And I remember this game coming out, loved it at first. I was like, wow, this is a really cool game. And then I finished it, I was like, holy shit, that's it? Because the game was so fast, it was so short. That's literally the whole problem with the game, is it was very short. And there wasn't really much to do outside the campaign. And it's the same thing with the first one. I mean, there wasn't much to do outside the campaign for either of them, but still. So that was kind of tragic for the second one, is that it was rushed. That's the main problem with it. And then, of course, there was supposed to be a third one. However, 2 years after The Force Unleashed 2, Disney bought Lucasfilm, and therefore LucasArts was closed. So the game kind of just died out. I mean, you couldn't have a Force Unleashed 3, but there were plans for it. There were plans to actually have a Yoda Unleashed game where you get to see Yoda's life, basically, and what he was before he became the headmaster of the Jedi Order, maybe. So maybe it would have been a prequel game, which would have been very cool. Would have loved to seen that. I would rather see that than a movie. But then again, like I've said, I don't want to see Yoda's history, because if it's a mystery, it's better. I like my imagination to take over instead of actually having a story that I might not like. But anyways, so The Force Unleashed 3 was actually supposed to be an open world game. It was supposed to have Starkiller and Darth Vader teaming up and running through the world and taking out whatever Emperor Palpatine sent them, or Darth Sidious, whatever you want to call him. Darth Sidious was supposed to send them something, and they're supposed to have to deal with it. They're supposed to take that out and work together for it, and it would have been an open world game, which would have been amazing. I really think an open world Star Wars game is something the fans really need. I know they're working on that right now, but still, back then, that would have been great. So, The Force Unleashed 3 didn't happen, of course, because LucasArts died out. Force Unleashed 2 was very crappy because LucasArts cut a third of its staff, removed the CEO of LucasArts, I think, left, or the CEO of the game, I can't remember, whatever. He left, so someone else had to come in. And then the person who was writing the story only had 3 weeks to make it, and then they only had a year to make the game itself. So you really didn't have a lot of time. When it comes to making video games, a year to make it is not that good. I mean, you look how long it took them to make games like Fallout 4 or Skyrim. I mean, those are huge games and they're really good. Well, I don't think Fallout 4 is that great, but I never played it, so I can't fucking judge. But, you have these big games that take a long time to make, and so making a game in a year isn't really ideal. It's not something a lot of companies can do and can do well. When you look at the Call of Duty franchise, they're producing a game every 2 years, and they keep getting shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier for a very reason, because they're going so fast paced. And the same thing happened with the Assassin's Creed franchise. So giving a company a year to make a game is not going to help it, especially when you're trying to make, the Star Wars universe something that we all love and give it rich lore, make it a very solid game. Giving it a year is not going to work, and it's not going to do the job. That also was the downfall of the first Battlefront game by EA, is that they rushed the game out. They wanted to get it out right before The Force Awakens, and it did well financially. It did horribly critically. So that's tragic, but that's a later subject. So that was the tragedy of The Force Unleashed. And it was a game that was really good. It had great potential to make a trilogy. However, was ruined by LucasArts and then ruined by Disney for canceling it. I'm not sure why LucasArts cut 1/3 of their staff. I'm pretty confident it's due to budget reasonings. But telling someone you have a year to make a game is really not helpful for the game at all. So that was a tragedy of The Force Unleashed, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Star Wars Only. I will see you all next time. May the Force be with you, always.